Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with episode 9, the Q&A from Critical Role for The Legend of Vox Machina. Tonight is the final 3 episodes. We're going to get them in about 5 hours. I'm going to edit all these up. I watch them all first. Sometimes I'll watch the first one, edit it up, and then do the others. I felt like just rolling with it, get them all done. Then I'll have something to eat, relax, edit them up. And then we'll watch The Legend of Vox Machina tonight in about 5 hours, like I said. So, last we got Ashley Johnson, Marisha, Travis, Sam, and Arthur, the art designer. And we find out a little bit more about Pike shitting on beds, losing her alignment, according to Matt Mercer, having to regain a hold on her religious beliefs. I can't remember if they've actually called Everlight religion. Is it the same? I know she's a cleric. People said they're very powerful. It's like holy and unholy and undead and stuff like that. But is it religion based? Is it that, or is it something else? I feel like it isn't actually using the word religion, but I keep saying like religion, beliefs. I don't know if that's correct to use, but either way, we find out a little bit more about that. That's why Pike went over to the Everlight and she got sidelined for a little bit, but it wasn't that in real life. In real life, she really got something else going on. I love how they didn't say it was blind spot. I, for a second, thought Mika just totally messed up. And she goes, yeah, weren't you on a show called, like, Tattooed Lady? If you didn't see Blind Spot, it was a woman who was covered in tattoos. And I did see the first season, or a good deal of the first season. And you start finding out, spoiler alert, but the tattoos mean something. And they're like maps on her body to do things, or ciphers you have to decode. I can't remember exactly, but it reminded me kind of Prison Break. How Prison Break, but he drew that on his body. She wakes up and has no clue what's going on. That's not important, though. I feel like it was canceled. I stopped watching it for other reasons, but either way, that was Ashley Johnson. Now we've got them all back. This episode we're about to watch is Pike's major episode. I have to assume that's why they got Pike on and waited till the end. Why have Pike on in an episode where nothing's going to happen? I also said how last episode they never even spoke of Anders, and that was Anders' episode. It was literally called A Silver Tongue, and that's Anders' tongue. Odd that they didn't talk about him, but I mean, Percy wasn't in that crew, so maybe it's more a Percy thing than not, and we already talked about the darkness and the smoke. Let's jump in. This is also the longest. You guys want to see more of what I do, full unedited reactions, all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon. The link's at the end. If not, episode 9, the Q&A for The Legend of Vox Machina from Critical Role. Episode 9, The Tide of Bone. What fun.
Oh, man. God, how fun. All right, guys, these are the final questions of the evening. The final questions.
I knew they were going to do it for a while, so that's all.
This is a weird mood tonight.
I'm digging it. I dig the flow. I feel like everyone's comfortable. I'd rather you be weird and comfortable than nervous and uptight.
Similarly, Tide of Bone feels like a mini zombie apocalypse movie.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't look too easy to do in animation. We kind of discussed this a little bit in the episode while we were watching, but please tell us all about the blood, sweat, and tears, and tears, and tears, and tears that it took to pull all of this off.
A lot of blood.
Tears.
Oh, more blood than tears?
You wouldn't believe. Yeah. Yeah, huge props to the character team.
I would love to know if they actually bled a lot.
The character team really knocked it out of the park. Yeah, Phil, Nick, all those guys had to come up with so many variations on those zombies to make this episode possible. And then they just give that to Rev, and Rev has to draw every frame of it. So it's crazy. And then
I don't know if I've met all these names.
Coming back, the post team has to really sell it. So they throw so much extra sauce on top to make
This
it
is such a
legitimate.
comfortable shirt. By far my favorite of the 3. Comfort-wise. Comfort. Well, I mean, it's also awesome.
Together to make it look that good. Super proud.
Really good, super crisp. And like we said before, the fact that you can see so many different zombies, it never looks like there's a repeat. I'm pretty sure by the end of it, everybody who's involved in this wanted to see another zombie.
Didn't have a single issue with it. I thought it was done amazingly, as most battles and villains are in
They
this.
just really take to town.
And it was like,
Drink it from the mug.
Be a 2D show. We got into it. We're like, just kidding.
we're sorry. But it's just like also all the zombies that were attacking seemed like they had different personalities, different like gaits, different speeds.
I thought they
Some
said
of them
gats,
were
like
more brutal
guns,
than others.
gats.
Like, that's just so much to consider.
Absolutely, yeah. They're staggered, so their timing is different. There's a lot to go in there to make it feel organic and real.
Yeah. It wasn't Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Sunjin was asking us, like, in one of the early meetings, like, so having, you know, this number of characters on screen a lot is going to be super challenging, but, like, it's doable as long as, like, there's no, like, armies or anything. And we're like,
Real conversation. Like a battalion and maybe a horde.
I mean, I guess he didn't know campaign 1.
organized army.
Arthur should have immediately known. He's a huge fan, they said.
Define arm.
Question for Ashley. Before we get into the question that I have for you, I do want to show a little bit of an animatic for Pike's return.
Oh,
Ashley,
I was gonna say,
I wanna pay close
please tell me it's
attention
that.
because, this involves you,
Okay.
and it relates to you
What?
in a way that we're
Okay.
going to discuss.
Hidden
Don't-
frame that you have to find.
Yeah.
Don't
Is there really?
Okay.
Wait, what?
Pay close attention.
Is this real? Play close
Oh,
attention.
put the glasses on.
I think I know a sign when I see one.
That's definitely different right there. She flew in. In the show, she flew in on a beam of light. Oh, wait, this is when she empowered them. Okay, never mind.
Your weapons strike with the divine virtue of the Everlight.
Yeah, so that was the scene. Okay.
Now go crush some fucking heads!
So the whole connection I was trying to get at is, while during campaign 1, you weren't actually there. Pike was astral projecting. You were astral projecting
Hello.
via Skype.
Hello.
That was the
See
that
what we
was
did?
the involving you.
See
Did
what
you,
we did?
Mika, you confused the shit out of me.
Did you pick up on it? Yeah.
I did. You know,
I know what they're
a
talking
nod
about,
to
but I don't know
all the
how
stuff.
that made
Yeah,
sense.
that was how Matt sort of.
How did her
during
saying
the
pay
game,
close
like,
attention?
projecting. I was like, ooh.
I don't know. That just confused me. I don't know if that made sense at all. But
Can
okay,
you talk
I'm
about
on
a little
board.
bit what's the difference between Pike's grand entrance in the series, and why did you make those changes?
I mean,
Was it
I don't
in
hate
terms
them
of
for
being
it.
different in the
I just
game?
don't understand. I'm
Yeah.
confused.
Came in on foot, like leading a wing of the resistance from the outside of the city. Like we were up on a wall on a perch, and we saw you coming in on the in the distance. But it's animation. You gotta be able. You gotta flex.
I think there was like a. Yeah, I think in the game, I think I took the mace and like did like a Thor style, like boosh. But this was such a.
I literally titled my Pike video,
Yeah.
reminds me of Thor,
Well, let's make
when he
it like-
jumps in an
we're
Infinity
doing
War
astral
and
projection.
smashes with
Let's
rocket.
make it a little. Let's make it extra.
Yeah.
Coming out of the fucking sky. It's
Yeah.
pretty rad.
And help it, like, you know, putting holy weapons on everybody.
See, the holy weapons, I don't think was that in the campaign. I don't think it was.
Yeah, Everlight gave you a big old gift card.
I don't remember if I didn't
Yeah.
get to that point or it wasn't.
Gift card.
Kind of like Oprah. You're like, and you get a holy weapon, and
Yeah.
you get a holy weapon, and you get a holy weapon.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you need, Boo? Oh,
I mean, just the fact that you could bestow holy weapons to people is epic.
Is that what we're getting at here?
I mean, yeah, I like it. I'm gonna go with that.
All right. At the end of the animatic, this is for everybody, we saw a glimpse of those super creepy undead giants. Let's talk about.
I
how
wanted so
great those
badly
designs
for one of
are.
those to
I
be
know we have
related to
art
Grog,
grow
but
up
Grog was
in a
like,
second,
stop
but
assuming.
Can we talk about the process of those?
Yeah, a lot of the time when
Look at that
Phil
one, his
and
head is
Nick are
half gone.
building out these kind of designs, they'll have kind of like a base body, and they're just working with ways to make them really feel unique, like throwing sort of like found object armor on them and stuff like that, and just making them feel like they really can belong in that world.
That one's my favorite. I've said it many times. Reminds me of like a skinny maestro.
So smart.
So cool.
Yeah.
See, like the giant they were before Undeath took them, right? Like.
Oh yeah.
And the muscle and sinew underneath some of the skin and stuff. It's super,
Yeah.
super cool.
The beard and the hairstyles and the different levels of decay, like the injuries to them.
Yeah. The guy with only the few strands. Yeah. And then Vax uses those to climb up
Yeah.
Brilliant.
the body. I love that.
Also, the creepy undead faces, like the giant grin and the bug eyes. There's something that's just so unsettling
You're like,
about
oh,
that.
you're just gonna eat me.
Yeah. And then when Vax like rips.
Giants, like Attack on Titan, giants eating people is so.
unnerving.
Yes,
about them.
that's what I was literally just gonna say. It's so unsettling.
I think we did some ADR for the giant where you're just like, nah. I think it's too much.
I wish you kept that in.
I don't know what ADR is. ADR audio.
Marisha, in this
Da-ba-da-ba.
episode, Vax
Resources.
finally reveals his feelings for Keyleth. It's very precious. It is
Audio,
an iconic
digital,
moment from Campaign 1.
rock-a-da-ba.
You and Keyleth seemed completely blindsided by it. Like, Matt had to cut to break. It
I
was
know
total
I've heard
chaos,
ADR before.
everybody
I just
loved
can't
it.
think of what it is.
But what was it like revisiting that moment and distilling it and crunching it down for the animated series?
Yeah, you know, Keyleth, she doesn't have a lot of experience in the like dating world in the realm, so she doesn't really, you know, pick up on those type of cues. You know, super wise, charisma's her dump stat. So it is the same in the campaign where I remember talking to Laura, I think at break, and I was like, I didn't know how long has this been going on? And she's like, for like fucking forever, for like 40 episodes. And he would do little things where he would just be like, yeah, and Vax sits next to Keyleth. Or like in our lineup, he'd be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna get in front of Keyleth and all these things. And I was just like, cool, yeah, that's our lineup.
And
Like,
and
not
she really
thinking
didn't pick up on it?
in any way. So kind of seeing that.
See, I'm
here,
like,
that,
I feel like at least that I'm very perceptive of everything going on in real life and other things. I feel like I'd immediately be like, why are you always by me?
Constellation,
What are you doing?
I didn't pick up on it either, because when that confession came out during the game, I think we all escaped into our shirts and we hid behind monitors and we were like, what is happening?
I've reacted to that. There is another reaction scene. I think Arsqueef
Kind of like
put it up.
trailblazed,
Vax
like, in,
telling her he loves her.
like character romance.
Yeah.
Hadn't
Yeah.
really done any of that
We were
shit
not prepared.
before.
I would love to say we're consummate professionals all the time. We were not. We were like,
I mean, I've seen them react like that a
in
lot.
the game where I didn't know you could do that, but I don't know why you couldn't.
sure, yeah, same.
But it was just like, wait, you can be with people in the game? Our characters can be together?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Floodgates open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming at some point
Yeah,
Pike
I
and
love the
Scanlan
adjustments that we made,
are
'cause,
gonna
I
get
mean, it was
something
very
going.
important, too. We
Maybe
talked
not
a lot
too serious.
About, like, the timing of their romance and not wanting to rush it too much. So
Yeah, when we were playing the campaign, like you said, it got to sort of evolve over 40 episodes
Yeah.
to that point, or
yeah.
you know, and even.
I feel like it was around, I
before we
reacted to that. It was like
started
36 or
streaming,
something.
and which made it an earned moment that really made sense and paid off and everything. But we're only 8.5,
Yeah.
20-minute episodes in.
But I already
Point,
picked up
so
on that.
It
I mean-
definitely, it happened. You guys just saw it, but it seems like it needs a little bit more time to
Yeah,
fully.
I
blossom,
kind of
in
caught
the
on
timeline
in,
of
I
our
feel like
animated
early
series. So
episodes.
we're gonna
They
just
had something.
Give it that time.
And I think it subverts it, you know, it subverts like the kind of tropes of usual, like, oh, what, my prince, I'm suddenly taken by you. She's like, what the fuck, no. Like, none of this is appropriate right now.
There's zombies. Like, we don't talk about this.
I think it
world.
also has a
They're
lot
trying
to do with the
kill us.
fact
You're
that
gonna fuck with my
she's
head when I
awkward.
need to, like, live. Not cool.
Not cool.
So,
He just
yeah.
trauma dumped in the middle of a zombie fight. He's like, just because we're gonna die, I just want you to know I love you. It's like, no, dude.
Don't-
Like, let's actually talk about
Yeah.
this. Like, that's not fair.
There's a right way.
There's a
and
truck
wrong
pulling in my
way,
drive.
And I'm not gonna tell you which one this is.
But I am gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Let you think about it.
Yeah, Keyleth is the first in this game, you know, and Vax is in the campaign, but in the show, Keyleth and
That's
I walked
a giant
away
diesel truck
first.
pulling in my yard.
Yes,
One of my
yes,
work
you're
trucks.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it.
Trendsetter.
We were kind of talking. We were kind of talking earlier about how the floodgates opened after the first romance confession happened. So for Ashley and Sam, Pike and Scanlan, what the fuck? What's going on there?
See, this is coming.
I feel like we're destined to be together, but
But
I don't feel that you feel that way at all.
Oh boy,
who
let's
knows?
have it out.
I mean, it's gonna take.
See, Sam is playing it off
take some
very
time, you know.
well.
I feel like Pike. I think it's gonna take Pike a little time to sort of make her
Because
way.
Sam, I feel like, has a face that reveals a lot. Because I think he revealed something in the last one. But I feel like they're going to
Yeah,
get...
we'll see. I mean, just like in campaign 1, Scanlan probably came on a little too hard at first and backed off a little bit at some point, and we'll see how it develops.
I thought that was adorable in this. How he ran over and was like, marry me. And she's like, okay, let's
The
go.
marriage proposal, see where it goes from there. I think that's a really great advice for anyone. Don't listen to that. It's not great advice.
Scanlan, has always sort of thought of himself as a very skilled romanticist with the people he has his eye on, but he actually, he always cared about Pike and probably just doesn't know what to do in that situation. Sure. It's easier to just like get someone to hook up with you, but it's harder to like get someone to actually like care about you. So
it's easy for one-night stands. It's hard for matters of the heart.
That's right.
There it is.
There it is.
So emotional.
There it is.
We got some questions for chat. If you guys are down to answer a few of those.
We down.
I don't know.
Oh, well, too bad, because it's going to happen anyway.
Let's hear them first.
Guys, I had all these other thumbnails and I totally forgot to use them.
Were there any specific
I'm so
references,
upset
like
with
films
myself.
or
Like,
artists,
I had like
etc., that
this.
inspired or influenced certain art choices in terms of style, framing, etc.?
I forgot to use them. I had a bunch of them.
There were 3 years ago, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like working in animation for a long time, you kind of take the last show with you a little bit, and I certainly took some of the artists with me too. So it was hard to not have Voltron in the back of my head while we were.
I used to watch
starting
Voltron when I was a kid.
development on this, and I even brought my fellow background designer William New over, and we, figured out a lot of like the architecture of Whitestone together, like what just a building on the.
I mean, that's
street would
pretty
look
common.
Like, what
You
a building
usually
in Amman would look like.
stay with the
He's just
winners on your
super
team.
Influential to me as a person, as an artist. So yeah, there's definitely like ties back to things that we had already built together, but we did try to push it forward into something that no one had ever seen before, and definitely just playing with the sizes and scales of stuff and just making throne rooms way bigger than people expected, and however we could surprise the fans and give them something that they didn't see coming.
Nice. And a question for everybody. What is your favorite game to show moment or scene so far?
Favorite?
Game to show moment.
Yeah, so like game to show.
Oh, I was like, I don't understand that either. Game to show moment. I mean,
I personally love the adaptation of the dark spirits coming after Vox Machina once they've been restrained to the keep.
the Wraiths.
Desmond wasn't in it as much as he was in the campaign, but the idea was still there, and it was just great getting to trap the characters,
I mean,
for
the
lack of a
Pike
better
thing
word,
was
to
amazing.
lock in on
Scanlan,
each character,
Scanbo
how they
was
relate to each
great.
other and how the different faces of their personalities show up depending on who they're talking to. It was just that whole episode was just so great. But in terms of
The
like, big
reveals,
action
Percy
moments,
reveals are
Sam
amazing.
remembers in the writers' room, I was always harping on Pike's return.
That
Just
was
like,
great. That I
just
love
had
that
a
kind of
visual
shit,
in my
like
head
epic
from
war.
the get-go and how we
Those
could
are some of my
make it
favorite
so-
movies. Braveheart,
so
Gladiator,
crazy,
blah, blah, blah.
awesome.
Last
You know,
Samurai, one of my
best Akira
favorites of all
bubble
time.
ever.
Kira's a good one too.
Man, I feel like it's hard to top the reveal of the bodies on.
That was a hot one. Yes, definitely I watched many reactions to
In our
that.
heads as players, so
Definitely in the
deeply,
top
I think
five.
The fan base as well, and that was kind of when we all. That was
The
another game changer
Briarwood
moment
reveal,
where
like
you're
when Percy
oh,
finds out the Briarwoods are there, and then we find out
what does that
Cassandra's
have
alive.
going
Like
on in
so
his
much dealing
head?
with
I
Percy.
fucked up. Did you just string kids from a tree? Holy shit! It was just so impactful in the moment. So seeing it realized was really cool. That wasn't me. That was. It was me.
It sounded like it was her sneaker. I saw it. Now she can't. Now you can't do it again. But I saw it was her sneaker.
Tuna Mac.
Spam Masubi every time.
Every time. Boy, both of those moments, Pike coming in was special for me. The Sun Tree moment, I still think is.
I'd say the Percy moments, Cassandra, the Briarwoods, Pike,
Also, just in general,
Scanbo,
seeing
the
Gilmore
Sun
for the
Tree,
first time.
Gilmore. I was
Totally
gonna say
going to shop
maybe
and
it's not a
seeing that.
favorite, but I
think
love
it's
Gilmore, even though it's like a 30-second thing.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I obviously seeing my character up on a roof with
Ganbo,
flames and
Duke,
rain and
yeah,
stuff,
that's one of my
a big
favorite.
Giant dude is pretty amazing to know that like. A few
I mean,
years
they're
ago,
gonna
we
be
were just sort of
clinging to their
improv
character
on the
moments,
spot,
but I
and
think
now
they're
it's
all
like a
up
thing
there.
that people can watch and see for themselves is pretty magical. I would also say that like moments like the "You know I love you" moment under the tree are so cool because they are different from from campaign one. You know, like in some ways, I was always pushing this in the writing room. Also, like we've told a story already once. We told campaign one. It's great. You can go watch it. It's awesome. So I'm really excited for any moments that we can we change just a little bit. Still honor that moment, but tweak in a slightly different way so we can tell a brand new story. That's really exciting to me too.
As a critter.
Man.
Oh yeah, I'm curious.
To really pick. I will say runner-up is definitely Gilmore's.
I'm shocked because I feel the same, but I honestly
worked that
wasn't
area. There were like
thinking
3 or 4
people
of
would
us
go with
working
that.
on it, but I kind of put the final gloss on all the paint. and
I've
just
reacted
getting
to
really
Gilmore
flesh
comparisons
out
too,
every
but I mean,
angle
he's
of
not
that
in it a
shot.
whole lot.
It's
Twice
so-
for a couple
Oh
minutes.
my God!
Wonderful.
Thank you. Like, yeah, we really went nuts. You should not make an area that detailed on a TV budget.
We went over it in
Very
the episode,
detailed.
one of the Q&As. We
Yeah.
saw it laid out.
That's like what you would do in the campaign guide, and we tried to do it with the background. It's crazy. So honestly, we tried submitting it at one stage, and like Chris basically came back crispy and said like, you know what, guys, like I think you should put a little more on, and we were like, okay, let's do it. So I actually spent a whole week.
It's like we didn't want to waste time, but we want to.
It was so worth it because I'm really happy with it, how that came out.
He
But
genuinely
I gotta
looks
say my number one moment
like he's like,
was
like
so
I've never seen him
really
so
hope you
excited. It's like a
guys
guy about to
see
make
it
$1 billion.
soon, 'cause, Yeah. It's
Look at him. That's the most excited I've ever seen him.
gonna be pretty fucking good.
Oh my God, he cursed. That's it, guys. That's the end of episode 9. I showed you some of these during the Q&A. I'm so mad. I purposely got up 3 images because you guys know I hate using the same image. I like to use different images, especially when I'm doing multiple videos, because it almost looks confusing when you see the same image over and over. I feel like people think it's the same thing, and I also like to dabble and see different things. I will use the same image on the episodes of Vox Machina just because when I do reactions to the show, I like to use one for season 1, one for season 2. I like to keep a format when I'm doing the actual reactions to the shows. That way I can remember like this was season 1, this was season 2. If I did images for every episode, you would definitely run out of images. Some of the shows I watch have hundreds of episodes, but this is a little different. I like throwing different images up. I mean, I guess since it's a Q&A, it's not a big deal, but this is one of the images I put together that I was going to use, so I figure why not just show you now and use it towards the end of my exit. We get to have a champagne toast at the end. Ashley Johnson got married to Brian. I know him because he is the guy that hosts Undeadwood. I finished part 1. I did it in 2 videos and a live stream. I at some point will finish that. I'm also definitely going to jump into campaign 2. I was kind of waiting till this ended. Tonight is the 3 episodes and the finale of The Legend of Vox Machina. So once that ends and I get all this up, it's going to be very easy to jump into things like campaign 2, finish the Undeadwood thing. That's kind of where I was at. I'm like, why rush that kind of stuff when I have so much Vox Machina content? I have these 3 videos, the 3 episodes, and then I do at least 3 to 5 comparison videos plus whatever else comes up. If you look, I probably get 10 to 15, maybe 20 videos a week out. I figured let's, sideline campaign 2, but I definitely am interested in getting into it. I don't want to ruin campaign 1, so I'm not going to jump into that. We heard more from Arthur, and I've never seen him so excited when he talked about Gilmore's. They talked about all their favorite scenes when you compare it from the game to the show. And Gilmore is one of my favorites, and I've said it in previous shows as well, but I can't believe how passionately into it Arthur was. He literally was like, oh my God, I can't even contain myself with the excitement I had. This guy, Chris P, I feel like that's the guy in the first Q&A we saw. He never did a live stream before. I could be totally wrong and that's not even the right guy, but I feel like that might be him. because he was like the head of everything, or at least more of a head of things than I feel this guy might have been. This guy's the art designer. I feel like that guy was like the head of production. Either way, he said Chris P said go back and make this nicer. So they were jumping on it, trying to make all sorts of things. We saw that in another Q&A, Gilmore's place exposed, and how there were all sorts of Easter eggs around and stuff, things I wouldn't know, things you'd only probably know if you saw Campaign 1 or watch videos on Campaign 1. But all of their favorites were my favorites. And it's not wrong for them to like their own episodes better. Like, for instance, Scanbo is Sam's favorite. I don't fault him for that because that was friggin' awesome. It's probably in my top 10. Same with Pike dropping a bomb on the undead and exploding. If you go for epicness, Pike is probably one of, if not the top. But I also forgot to mention during the episode, during the Q&A for episode 9, Keyleth has been clutch in so many situations. I mean, I started really thinking about it, and then I'm like, all right, first off, here's the moments that are most memorable. Percy has a ton. The reveal of the Briarwoods, the reveal of his sister being alive, finding his sister, then his sister's throat being slashed, Keyleth healing his sister, Keyleth doing the whole thing with the barricade that blocked the Briarwoods from the initial attack, Keyleth saving their asses when the cart derailed and she had to do like all that crap and it went off the cliff and the dog got cut in half and then it ran away, the beastie thing. Keyleth has saved the day 100 times, but I feel like even though Keyleth is clutch all the time, it still wasn't as epic as Pike dropping the bomb like she did. And also, Scanlan's fight on the rooftop with the Duke, I mean, maybe because Scanlan is one of my favorite, if not my favorite. Him and Grog definitely are my favorites, but that doesn't mean that everyone else isn't like right on their heels. I would say Pike is like a really close third. In the last episode, maybe even jumped over Grog. I still like Scanlan so much though. Grog seems like he gets sidelined a lot, honestly. If I had to pick, I feel like Grog and Vex have been sidelined most of all the characters in the show. Am I wrong to think that? Even though Pike's on a side journey, a lot of this has to do with Pike as far as the last episode and everything, how epic she is. And Scanlan, I feel like, is always in the forefront or doing something comical or whatever you want to say. Scanlan's always around. Keyleth's always the clutch one. And Vax is always like in the mix somewhere. Not that Vex isn't always around in Grog too, but I feel like they don't have as much to do. And I know people even say that Vex is the non-self-proclaimed leader, so to speak. I also thought it was funny how they asked Marisha about Vax and her romance and how she didn't realize for 30 plus 40 episodes of the campaign, mind you, they're 3 or 4 hours each. So that's like hundreds of hours. And they're like, yeah, a lot of us didn't even pick up on it. But Vax was subtly doing things like I sat next to her, I'm standing by her, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I would pick up on stuff like that. But hey, maybe in the beginning, Pike even said herself, Ashley Johnson, that she didn't even know you could do that, even though there's no reason you can't. I've said that in other episodes too. I'm like, could you do this? I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do this. Like I was saying, how could you just tell Matt, like, say Matt Mercer is a random NPC. Could I just walk up and be like, yo, what's up, dude? I remember you. We grew up together. But now is it up to Matt to be like, oh yeah, I remember you, or be like, what the frick are you talking about? I don't even know who you are. I don't know if you're even allowed to do that, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to as long as Matt goes with the flow. She was talking about how she didn't even know that Vax was romantical about her, and then the whole marriage thing at the end of episode 9 with Scanlan saying to Pike, I know, at least my best guess is that Pike and Scanlan are going to get something going on. Maybe not a long-term relationship, but I feel like at some point they're going to hook up and have some sort of romantic attachment or interaction. I also feel like I said it at the other episode. I feel like in the next 3 episodes, one of our main characters might get brutally hurt, almost dead, or possibly even dead, because they made it a point in these 3 episodes of the Q&A to talk about how resurrection is a big deal in this world and how don't feel safe with the characters, so now I don't feel safe with the characters. But I don't want to make these a year and a day. You guys want to see more of what I do, full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you only see on Patreon. The link is in front of me. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace!